Hey guys, my name is Hinds and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you are a regular watcher, please smash that like button. It means a whole lot to me. And consider subscribing if you're new and this might be something that you're interested in, or if you're enjoying this content. I get a question quite a lot about why my content is focused on video games. And the reason this question comes up a lot to me is that my background is in television, and I started doing TV work through video games and technology. I was storyboarding at a cartoon show at the time. A producer came up to me because I was super excited about games, and I ran around the office like freaking out, young and super excited. And he was like, "We need someone that's passionate about video games, come talk. So can you do that? We need someone tomorrow." And I said yes, and the rest is history. But I've had a lot of opportunities being on TV to do lots of different kinds of content. I have focused on video games and technology as an individual, and I've come back to video games here on my YouTube channel, which a lot of people have a lot of questions about, like why video games? Why are you so excited about them? I do some technology. Still, you might see if it's gaming related, or YouTube related. So if it's graphics cards, if it's hardware like keyboards and mice, if it's phones or tablets, anything that I'm using to create videos with, or cameras that I'm using to shoot with, then I will include it on this channel, because that's kind of what we do here. Like, not only is this a gaming channel, but I also feel like it's a repository of ideas that I can help you guys out with your channels, because a lot of you have channels, and also so that you can see a little bit behind the curtain of how things are done, and that's really important to me. That this is a little bit more exposed. It's a little bit more. It's not like television, right? Like everything is like you have two cameras, and the one I don't know if you knew this, but you have two cameras, right? Or you have one camera on shoot that acts as two cameras. So you'll shoot somebody, ask them the questions, and then after you've asked the questions, you got the answers, you shoot the questions again, and you nod to no answer, and the editor cuts it all together. And it's the trick. It's the theater of the mind in television. But in YouTube, it's a little bit different. I don't even know if I'm going to be cutting this video at all. And maybe I won't, just to show you how a little bit more about this reveal. And you know that I don't do that a lot with a lot of my videos, especially the ones where I talk about a personal matter. And this personal matter to me is, why video games? Why am I so excited about video games? And the reason is, for many, and I'll give you a couple of reasoning, a couple of things of my thinking that makes zero sense, but I think you know what I'm saying as to why I think this. But video games are the greatest medium probably the world has ever seen, and we're sitting in the heat of it. We're sitting in the middle of it. Video games came out like 40 years ago, sort of, roughly. That's kind of when they were invented, and they kind of like evolved, and the big hit was like late 80s, 90s. 90s was like console years, and that kind of made it really mainstream. From little experiments at universities and some PC games, but PC games are huge too. But they were exclusive to people who had computers, and people were still skeptical whether they wanted a computer in the house or not. And can you believe that? That was a time in history, and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were trying to get people to buy PCs and computers and put them in their houses. There was a time in history like that. And now we can't live without a PC. We're not even buying televisions. You know, we're ditching the TV and rather have a laptop. So gone are those days. And now in the 90s, we had like a bunch of PCs that were coming into people's homes. The internet was becoming a thing, so people started playing games online. We had consoles. There was a big competitive market with Sega and Nintendo, so there was like a lot of flourishing. There was like a lot of fertilizer. But now that like the 2000s and the 2010s, games are the world's leading entertainment industry. They beat films, well, they beat movies and music combined. That shows you the size of the industry. And if you don't understand why that's a big deal, it's the subculture that's starting to like blossom and flourish, kind of like a bulb in the ground sprouting flowers. And it's happening right now, and it's a huge part of our upbringing and our growth. And I'm sure you've grown up with video games, and you just love video games because you grew up with them. And that's one of the reasons. I was one of the first generations to grow up with video games as in a primary form of entertainment. I had the Nintendo NES. I was an 8-bit console. I was like in grade 1, and it was mind-blowing. I can't begin to explain to you how much I loved that console, and that it just opened up my eyes to this wonderful world of interactive entertainment that I never had, like never experienced before. I couldn't believe. I used to dream about it. Like I used to dream that I couldn't believe that I was inputting stuff and changing how things happen on screen, and I always used to think about what the future was going to be like, and I couldn't have imagined. I mean, you've seen Battlefield 1 screenshots, like, or if you the gameplay that I've played on my channel is mind-blowing. It's there's nothing like it, and I couldn't have even imagined that at that stage. So it captured my imagination at a very early age, and I grew up with it, and I saw a lot of the evolution from the 8-bit, 16-bit, playing Earthworm Jim and Sonic the Hedgehog, and moving on to PC and playing Half-Life 1, then to Half-Life 2. It blew my mind. It blew my mind that something like that could exist as a form of entertainment, and I could play like the character in a story. Multiplayer kind of changed things up for me. I'm a very competitive person. I love playing online, and when you could put an internet connection in our houses and play games, it blew my mind. We used to go to LANs. We used to take our gear and take it to someone's house and play it because we wanted that competitive side of gaming. We played Doom and Quake Arena like that. But now you could just play it online. It was amazing. So gaming has just kind of got better and better and better, and I've just been super excited about it. Because it's interactive, it allows us to tell stories that we can't tell with other mediums. When I remember when, well, I don't remember this, but I remember learning this because I'm not that old. When books started coming out, when the printing press came out, and the Gutenberg was printing the Bible for the first time, people were very worried because they were like, what is this device going to do? It's going to destroy the oral word. We're not going to have this tradition of passing around, this wonderful tradition, I'm sure, of passing around stuff from our mouths and sharing it with one another. And they were right. It destroyed the oral tradition. But isn't books better? Like, isn't that better? And also it allows us to tell different kinds of stories, and we started to get more descriptive when you know, the way we publish stuff like pulp fiction novels and so on. That was a long time after Gutenberg Press. But how we print stuff also changes the kind of stories that we read. If it's faster to print and easier to get onto shelves, that means that people are gonna write like shorter, quicker stories, short stories, and stuff that's gonna be published or gonna capture a larger audience. When film came around, you could do the same thing. You could tell stories in film that you can't tell in books, like long stretching shots. Tolkien tried that in Lord of the Rings. If you haven't read Lord of the Rings, I've read The Hobbit, but I always get like halfway through Lord of the Rings and then I stop. So and it just restarts. So, but anyway, a lot of scenes of description, and films do that, and they do it pretty well. They can captivate you, and there's a lot that can be said without words in movies, and also like there's stories that we can tell in film that books can't necessarily tell in film. And it's the same with video games, because I can be put in somebody else's shoes. And one example is just, they're called empathy games. So you can play a character in a story that doesn't necessarily involve you. So you can play, as a guy, I can play a woman. Or as a straight guy, I can play somebody that's LGBT in a game. Like, I mean, that's new, that's fresh. I could also be put, like games like Mafia, I can be put in the shoes of somebody with a different skin color to me. And what does that feel like? And I think games like Mafia do it extremely well, and Watch Dogs 2 has got really good moments in that. And these are AAA titles. These are titles that are going on the shelves, like for huge blockbusters. And they're trying to do something, leverage this medium in a way that film can't. Like, film can't do that in the same way. It's so unique. Even horror games, like when you play a horror game, you can't put your head over the blankets. Like, you have to interact. So that's one of the huge reasons why I'm so excited about video games. I can't wait to see where that goes. Like, what is it going to be like when they make games that make you, you know, that put you in the shoes of somebody that has a disability or is challenged in some capacity. and those are going to be very interesting games to play. There's a great game called That Dragon Cancer where you play or actually play a lot of people, but it's about two parents who lost their child to cancer, and the child's 5 years old, and you get to experience what that might feel like through the eyes of an indie game. And I think it does it very successfully. And what other medium could do that? Like, we could get the story told to us through books or film, but to live through it would require interaction. And that's the wonder of video games. Another reason that I love video games is that they're social. They're social things. Like, I'm a very social person, and I became even more social in circles where we could play video games, and that's why I love going to events that people hold and LANs, because I got to meet other people. But even now, like, I love talking on the microphone when I play online because I get to interact with new people, and then I can, if they are a nuisance or rude, I can just ditch them, which is quite nice. But like, movies aren't social, book reading isn't social, but video games are, and that's massive. I learned a lot about teamwork in high school from video games. I learned a lot about talking and working with my friends and solving problems together through video games in ways I couldn't have done with other mediums. And I'm so grateful to gaming and the people around me in my life that let me play video games because of that. The other reason I like video games is that it's an amalgamation of every creative discipline into one medium. So if you compose music, if you are a concept artist or an illustrator, if you are a 3D animator, if you are a tile designer in Photoshop, if you're a script writer, it puts everything together, and this massive collaborative effort that creates some of the best, in some cases, not all, but some of the best art that we can have. And that's inspired me as a creative. I love making things. I love making videos. I love illustration. You guys who follow me on Twitter and Facebook can attest to that, because I do a lot of illustration there. And because of that, I like seeing what other people are doing in video games. It was kind of like a smorgasbord of like creativity. Like, what do I want to do one day? What kind of like discipline do I want to have? What do I want to be good at? Do I want to make music? Do I want to contribute to gaming? And I never knew those different disciplines quite so vividly, because I'm physically partaking in their art. When you see a movie, a lot of that stuff is hidden. It's behind the veil. You don't really get to see what a gaffer is, or a sound person is, or a runner is. You don't, a location scout, you don't see any of that stuff. But in a video game, you kind of do. The credits roll in most games now. You can go to the option screen, and you can just choose the credits. But like, not only that, you can see it. You're interacting with it, right? Somebody had to make that jar. You know, somebody had to think of the colors. You know, and I know that sounds obvious, but when you see a movie, you go like, they could have just taken a plate of food. But they're food stylists. Their jobs are kind of to disappear behind the art. But in game design, because it's all made, you go like, wow, these people made something very cool. And that was really inspiring to me as a creative. Gaming is so diverse. There's literally a game for everybody on the planet. There's something in my eye. Again, every time I stop shooting, there's something in my eye. So if you are into non-violent games, or if non-violent games into puzzle games, there's literally everything. I can't even begin to express the different genres. Strategy, shooters, it's mind-blowing. Narrative-based, multiplayer, mobile, computer. There's something for everybody, and that makes me super happy. That shows me that this medium is gonna really take over the world. If it hasn't already. I'm pretty, like, I would argue that it's taken over the world already, but like, what we're gonna be playing with our kids one day is just gonna be absolutely maddening. And because we're at this really cool stage in gaming where we are, you know, it's becoming pop culture, it's in the midst of like, it's just like this massive bursting volcano, for lack of a better word. I honestly think that like we have an opportunity to change it. We have an opportunity to direct it. and we can go like, hey, we want more women in games, we want more people, we want more LGBT games, we want more games where we can play as a person of color, and I don't want to necessarily run around and play like Serious Sam, although Serious Sam is super dope. You know, like there's just so many options that we can go like, what kind of games do we want to play, and what kind of games do we want to give our kids one day? And that's a very exciting position to be in. You know, there hasn't been a medium, I think, well, there's been very few moments in history where we can sit down with a creative medium in its infancy and decide where it's gonna go. And if that doesn't get you excited about video games, then I don't know what. Like, I come from South Africa. A lot of you guys watching this do come from South Africa, and you'll understand South Africans have a very negative attitude towards video games, and I believe a lot of that comes from apartheid, where people are very antagonistic to gaming. They're antagonistic to anything that's new. So if it's the Ninja Turtles TV show or whatever, they think that it's evil or satanistic or whatever. They kind of put whatever like title they want on it. But because of that culture, we're very antagonistic to change, or we don't want to understand something that's different to us. And often that means it's a dude with pink hair, or it's a game that it's like video games, which I think are the devil, because kids sit down and play for hours at end, but they don't understand what is happening in this space, in this medium. Like if they sit down with Minecraft for, I don't know, an hour, their whole opinion of games will be changed. But people don't want to do that. They don't want to put in that work and put in that time work. And it's been very uphill. A lot of people ask me like, why have I got so few subscribers? And the content is good. I get that a lot. And the main reason is that I'm a South African channel, and a lot of people here don't have a culture of playing video games, and that's sad. We're gonna change that. It's changing thick and fast, but it's sad that that's the case. And I think that we have an opportunity to be positive about games and take video game culture to a place that we want it to be, that we can share with our friends, that we can share with our kids, that we can share with society and get them very excited about it. And yeah, it's changed my life. Gaming has completely changed my life, and I owe so much to it. Yeah. Okay, well that's a wrap. That ends my huge vlog. I will cut out some huge spaces of silence, so there was 1 or 2 spots of editing. But if you enjoy this video, hit the like button. If you have an opinion, if you've got a story to share about video games and how they changed your life, please drop it in the comments below. I want to hear what you guys, how gaming has affected you positively. My testimony, my story is like one of many others, and it's the reason I'm sticking mostly to gaming content on YouTube. I do a few other things, but for the most part, it's a big thing that we share, and it's a big thing that I want to continue sharing with people, and it's something that I'm the most excited about on this planet, pretty much. So I'm really happy to do it. So let me know in the comments what your experience with video games has been. If you feel the same way that I do, if you're as passionate as I am, I want to know. If you are new here and you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. And if you, because YouTube's been broken recently, if you have subscribed in the past, just double check in case you are still subscribed. My account has been unsubbing other YouTubers' accounts involuntarily, and I'm very bleak with YouTube for doing that, so they need to sort themselves. Let's go check that out. And please like this video. It means a lot to me. I'll see you guys in the next one. High five a stranger. I don't know if I'm going to continue using that. Should I continue using that? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.